Are we live? Yes. Hello. I'm Debbie,
Hello, I'm Jill.
and we love talking about grief.
We do. It's our thing.
Yes, yeah. And so it's the holidays coming up, and so we are talking about grief, and we're talking about the holidays and what they mean. And I know, Jill, you and I have talked about, for the winter holidays now. We start prepping people sometimes even like before Halloween.
Way before
Actually,
Halloween, because
I have to
Halloween
say,
has become a very big deal.
yes,
And so
yeah,
that seems to be now part of the entire winter holiday and into New Year's,
hmm
the big
yeah,
rollover we do.
yeah. I get really excited. Actually, all of our staff, we've been talking about holidays, and I was just telling you, Jill, before we started, that I was so excited when one of my associates had said, "Oh no," she was like, "So with a few of her clients, let's start talking about the holidays," and you know, and that kind of like,
And that's
"Oh,
what we do with
really?"
we have a nonprofit at our office,
Uh-huh.
and we have students that we train.
Mhm.
And one of the things I started talking about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago with them was, these are the holidays. You got to bring up loss. You have
Mhm.
to help people prepare ahead of time and make decisions,
Yeah,
because otherwise it'll catch them off guard every time.
yeah,
Because they're hoping if I just don't look at it, it'll just go past.
yeah.
And it's but what happens if they haven't had loss? I will no. Everyone's had loss, and the holidays will always bring it up. If you bring it up, you get to help people process. It's a
Absolutely.
great time of year.
Yes. I have to say, I used to, when I would do the holiday talk, and this is from slides that I've done when I talk about holidays, is one of the titles I did one year was, "Can we just skip to January?"
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, it's more specific that, can we just skip to January 2nd? Because that also includes New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Yeah, and in our house, it has to be January 3rd because my dad's birthday is the 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right?
All right.
Holidays are loaded. One of the things I keep on my desk year round,
Mm-hmm.
but I use as an example during the holidays, is this little thing. And it's
Ooh.
my ornament for Adele,
Oh, that's
my beloved Adele.
beautiful.
But it's something that I talk about with clients as we approach Halloween and with my staff,
Mhm,
because those are really inexpensive. You can buy the empty ones,
mhm.
and it makes a perfect way to broach how are we going to keep someone in the holidays.
That's a
And you could
great
do the
idea.
same thing with a why am I missing the word for the 8 candles? Menorah. You can
Menorah.
do a menorah with some pictures based around the base. There's lots of ways, and it gets people talking because they're using their hands,
Yep.
right? And
I'm
it gets
I'm
them thinking about it ahead of time.
yeah. I was just writing down the whole holiday ornament thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that.
Thank you, Deb Hart. Yeah, it's Hanukkah. We got to be ready for that too.
Yeah.
And Diwali is right now.
That's right. Yes. And oh man, so many holidays. And of course what they mean.
Right.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are centered around either a sense of peace and family,
Mhm.
or renewal, or some kind of joy. And folks feel like, well, I can't really bring up my loss
Yeah.
because it's going to make other people feel bad. And I'm like, oh no, you can bring it up. You can bring it up.
Mhm.
You can
Yes.
put it on the tree, or in
Yeah.
front of the menorah, or on the door.
Yep.
You
Yep.
bring it up.
Because it's not like the grocery store doesn't bring it up for you.
Right. Oh
Okay?
my God. Right. Like
Mhm,
when you get into Mother's Day week and everything
mhm.
is pink and purple, right?
Right. Yes.
We've had Christmas in the stores since the week before Halloween.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I was changing channels earlier this week, and all of a sudden there was a Christmas channel on, and
Right.
and I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, Jill, I know that for you, I think you
Oh
start
yeah.
having like Christmas music, and
Oh, mine's been
why?
playing. It's been
Right.
playing for like 3 weeks now. I
you know,
love Christmas music.
yeah. 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 So I want to share a few slides. Is that, I love the word holidayversary. Um, is that
It's a
you know,
great word.
thank you.
You
I
should propose it to our friends at the dictionary company.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've been using. I want to say that I made it up. I don't think that I heard it from anywhere. But
I think you
holidayversary,
did.
okay,
Yes.
is that, and I think it's we know it's the anticipation of it that I think makes it even worse. That
Mm-hmm.
feels
It's that
omnipresent.
dread.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm starting to hear that holiday dread in the office for clients, especially with the time change.
Oh, yeah.
And it's much darker, and the air is a little crispier.
It starts to feel a little closed in for some,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's also that Christmas was important or Hanukkah was important to this person, that person.
Yeah.
How am I going to do it this year?
Yeah.
I know therapists who've just lost significant people and they're struggling with,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? Because normally I would do this, but I don't want to do that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's pushback from other family members like, no, you've always done it that way.
Right. And we have to do that.
And we
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. And within families of one person wants to do something and the other person is like, oh no, I just want to ignore it and pretend like it's not just another day, which
Because
never really works
everybody
anyway.
has their own way of managing grief, right?
Right.
So this will
Yeah.
be the first Christmas without my mom. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going
That's
to do
right.
it differently than my sisters will do. And then one sister's Jewish, so
Mm-hmm.
she's doing Hanukkah differently.
Yeah.
Everybody gets space to do it however they feel like they need to, is how it should be.
Yeah.
And if you've got clients whose families are pushing back, give your clients permission
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to set up their own boundaries and do what they need to do to take care of them, even if it means, that Thanksgiving's going to be pizza, which is what it's going to be at our house this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good alternative plan in case my husband is going to attempt doing a turkey in the smoker because he's been
Oh.
smoking everything for the last 3 years. He's very excited about this. This is an experiment. Oh Lord.
The thing about smoked turkeys, my father-in-law liked them, my late father-in-law, first one. They're bright pink inside. They do not look done. I couldn't get past the fact that it looked like it was raw.
Okay, that's good to know.
You got to prepare yourself. It's a bright pink turkey.
Okay, that's good to know.
Which is why we won't do it at our house, because Stacy will never touch it.
So you know what? So I love to start, when talking about, it's kind of, we were talking about, how do you teach, your students or associates of, how to approach grief at the holidays, and I almost always start with, hey, look, this is gonna suck. Let's just start there. Not, oh, it's gonna be, oh, we can make it better. It's like, no, it's gonna suck too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah.
You can have an and, as Deb Hart likes to say. You can have it is and so you can enjoy parts of it, and it is going to suck too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just reading that Deb says yes, and the pink turkey actually still tastes good too.
It does. It's just creepy looking.
So, also that it's not exclusive to the death of a loved one.
Right.
We there's a lot of, grief from estrangement. And,
Who's missing at the table?
People not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or sometimes people who are going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would really
And
like to
how
have some distance
difficult
from.
that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes just physical distance. I've got a kid in Kansas City with a new baby. She will not be here for Christmas. It's not okay to fly with a new baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This slide, I don't think the words, I swear on the slide, the words are in dark, but somehow
It
they just end
transposed
up
itself
in white.
differently.
I don't know.
Right.
But the first one of, just that holidays bring up all the memories of the person. And there's other words that go with this, but it's not in here. The expectations
Can be
and the
painful.
anticipation
Mm-hmm.
that lead up, which I think is adds more and more pressure inside of what's it going to be like, and
How am I going to do this?
yes, definitely.
And then they want to sometimes avoid, and I
Mhm.
like to push my clients, and I do push. I will admit,
Uh-huh.
I am a pushy therapist when it comes to this. Not one plan, not two plans, 3 plans.
Well, you know what? I heard you say that last week, which I love and I talk about a lot. And so that's why when you and I were talking about what we
Mm-hmm.
were going to talk about, I was like, oh no, we need to flush out and help people with different plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
in the morning, I may want to do this, but I may change by afternoon, and no one can. You get to choose,
yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah. You know,
Oh,
uh,
those grief tsunamis, they're just
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that, they come out of nowhere. And I think, grief activators, there's a whole lot of them, especially at this time of year. Really not all of the year. But it's November. So this is what we're talking about. But all this sounds and, finding a station that,
Smells.
I wasn't expecting Christmas
Mhm.
music for some reason. Yeah. And smell, of all the food or medical smells that
Mhm.
remind us of treatment, tastes, all the pictures, touching. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
And give your clients permission if they get activated and they're driving to pull over.
mhm.
Grievers are terrible drivers.
I think when I realized years ago of how much that we are not in the present moment and how many grievers there are alone in cars. First of all, I was like, every single car needs to have an unending supply of Kleenex.
Yes,
First of all,
built
and
in.
second of all, it's just damn scary because
Yeah.
holy moly, yeah,
So give your clients permission. Let them pull over. They can
mhm.
be 5 minutes late if they needed to cry. It's
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Um, my slides aren't.
Oh, I love that.
I think I love being able to talk to people about. So can we just start identifying some triggers?
Mhm.
The daylight savings time was a big one. It was actually, I remember, a big one for somebody that I was talking to years ago who said that rolled into the holiday when he grew up, and dad drank a lot more, and it became uglier and uglier as the year progressed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Pumpkin lattes, holiday music. I don't know about you, and um I see people in person also at my office, but
Yeah, I do too.
I intentionally don't put holiday music on in the waiting room. I want my clients to have at least one place where they don't have to listen to that. I don't put up specific holiday decorations for that as well. I don't know.
At our office, actually, the tradition has become that the tree stays up year round and gets decorated for every month. So everyone sort of acclimates to it. So it was a Halloween and a Dios de las Muertes tree. And now it's a fall colors and turkeys tree, and it's going to
That's
be
great.
Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa tree
And
next
Kwanzaa.
month. Yeah, we everything gets loaded onto that poor little tree.
That's great. I
I
like
think it
that.
sort of reduces the reactivity to it for folks who are used to being there, and it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
it's such an odd little duck that
Yeah.
it's easier for folks to address it and to
Yeah.
look at it.
And in a
Yeah.
way, actually, to literally and figuratively project onto it.
Because they will come in and talk about what that tree has just triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. So I like to identify, again, can't see this very well, but I like to identify, okay, what holidays. I actually make sure that I put them on my calendar also,
Yes.
because I want to be able to start talking about it at least a couple of weeks ahead of time, usually in the
Mhm.
beginning of that month, unless the holiday is in the beginning of the month. So then we're talking about the month before. Yeah.
I make sure that I have all of them up so that I'm also not
Yeah.
roning over them for events.
Right. Right.
But I bring them up to clients, and you don't know, if you've got a client who presents as one culture, ask.
Mhm.
There may be more hiding back there,
Absolutely. Yes.
right?
I've had the dates of Ramadan
Right.
on my calendar, and have had learned years ago when I had my great big iced tea. Somebody came in during the middle of Ramadan and it was like, "Oh, could you?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hadn't even put that together. I'm so sorry." And
Right.
so I
You
made
can't
sure
have
that I
any. I'm
had
not
no
going to either.
liquid in the room
Mhm.
at all. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, I ask them, make sure that you put down your birthday also. I find that a lot of people skip when I think you do also. I think we've talked about. I make sure in our intake, I will ask specifically what are significant dates for you, and I notice that people will put down uh, birthdays, death days,
Anniversaries.
anniversaries, but they don't usually put their own birthday.
We ask for that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's something when I have clients tell me, I put down in their information what the days are, but I
Mhm.
also then have them bring it up and say, let's talk about it. Let's get ready for the anniversary. Let's get ready
Absolutely.
for this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if
No.
they've had a traumatic relationship and a loving relationship and it's all kinds of complicated.
Yeah,
We need more time to get ready, not less.
absolutely. It's we're honoring Veterans Day today. It's officially tomorrow.
Right.
We have a veteran actually that is has been living with us. He's a former Navy SEAL, and actually he and I were talking about it last night, and we were talking about what does Veterans Day mean for him, and
Mhm.
and he had said, look, that it's awkward for him when somebody thanks him because he always wants to say, look, I I was just doing my job, and it's difficult for him to receive appreciation. But I'm
Mhm.
very excited. Actually, his girlfriend took him away for the weekend, and so uh,
I'm so glad they get to be
in
away
honor
and
of
to
that,
do
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's Veterans Day at our house. We have our Navy
hmm
flag up for my late wife and
hmm
the Air Force flag up for my late father-in-law.
hmm
My dad was in the Army, but he didn't enjoy the Army. He did just what he had to do to get through World War II. And yeah, so we don't put the Army flag up.
I have to say, my dad was in the army too, and we never. I the only time I heard an army story was because he had a duffel bag from the
Yeah,
army. That was it.
yeah,
That was it. And my brother was in the Navy actually for 4 years, and so
yeah.
yeah.
Stacy's dad was Air Force for 34 years. So we're very Air
Ah,
Force around
ah,
here,
yeah.
right? But it's important. If you can say what one of the things that we heard from Cindy Doyle is not thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice,
hmm hmm
and thank you to your family for their sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah,
I find that Vietnam vets appreciate that more than other folks do
yeah.
because they didn't get that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the rituals, there are so many of them.
Yep. Yep. So I like to kind of go, okay, look, how was it before?
Yeah.
Okay. I and I always like to ask start with what was it like last year, because that tends to be the most recent. And it sometimes is, we were going through treatment,
Right.
there's the last year and we had no earthly idea that it was going to be the last year. I also, you and I have talked about that it's not exclusively the first holiday.
The second one is often worse.
Right. I have to say, I remember the first Thanksgiving after my mom. That sucked raw eggs. That was
Mhm.
awful. I hated it. It felt so weird. We went to somebody else's. We actually went to my brother's uh, um, sister-in-law, our girlfriend's sister or something. But it was just weird because we had never done that. But I think there are other holidays. Sometimes a holiday comes up years later too that has a different meaning, or that there's a new baby.
Right.
Yeah.
And that person never got to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super not fond of Thanksgiving anymore, mostly because that was the time that my second wife was dying and had not had any food or fluid in several weeks. And
Ah. Mhm.
so and yet she was the one who liked to cook. And so it was bad
Oh,
that day because I sent
right.
I sent the kids to Disney to go have dinner there,
Mhm.
and we all had sort of takeout Denny's downstairs so that there wouldn't be the scent of food. But it's sort of like we
Oh,
went
how
from being big
complicated.
Thanksgiving to with 50
Mhm.
people or 40 people to,
Mhm.
let's just do something different.
Yeah.
And so we started going to the river for Thanksgiving just to walk away from the big
Oh,
process.
neat.
Yeah,
Neat. Yeah.
there are ways to do things differently. Sometimes
Mhm.
it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I think uh I like to go through what food was there, and many
How
people
did you
say,
serve it?
what I have to make sure that I include. I know we celebrate we celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah in our family,
Lucky.
and growing up it was always leg of lamb for Christmas. And
Mm.
so that is how I carry my grandma and my mom uh, through the holiday. One year we didn't do it, and it was like it felt disloyal.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt weird. So
Yeah.
so I like to ask, about what you do in the morning, what traditions do you not want to do?
Mhm.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah. I when I'm talking about Thanksgiving and preparing people ahead of time, some of the things I suggest are, if you're the family that does the circle up and everyone has something to be thankful for,
Mhm.
do not be afraid to bring up the person who's missing. I'm thankful for their
Yes.
having been part of our life, and
Hmm.
today I'm missing this about them.
Hmm.
Um, that way, you break that ice
Absolutely.
and
It's like,
bring them
hey,
in.
let's name them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
At our house, we have to have key lime pie for
Hmm.
Christmas Eve because that is the Florida part of it,
I
and there
like.
has to be some kind of fish because you can't have a
Hmm.
smorgasbord without fish, right? That's
I
just
love
how it
that.
has to be, and it's
Yeah.
always Christmas Eve, it's not Christmas Day because
Yeah.
that's the tradition. But things change over time when someone has disappeared,
Hmm.
right? So who's gonna be there?
Yeah. Now, it's funny because I was looking for a picture. It was, what, it was very difficult to find. It was almost impossible to find a picture of people around a holiday table
Mhm.
that uh there that everybody wasn't like smiling.
Yes,
And in fact, even this picture, which I love the picture,
I
but I
do
couldn't
too.
find it without the words that said happy family, right? It's like, oh, but
Because you're
in a
supposed to
happy
be
family.
happy, happy, happy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I think really, looking at, well, who's going to be there? Who do we have bandwidth for? Who do we not have bandwidth for? and um and
And if we don't have bandwidth for them, how do we exit and take a little break so we don't have to provide the bandwidth?
yes. And so I always like talking about developing an escape plan of I usually
Take
do
your own
that
car.
with location. Is who, do you have, are you going to be driving?
Mhm.
um and also talking about alcohol
Yes.
and substances during the holidays. Okay. And making sure that they also have Lyft and or Uber on their
On their
phones.
phone. Mhm.
But being able to, or if they're going with somebody, to make sure that it's somebody reliable, that that when you send them the signal, when you send them a text or you give them the look, that they're going to respond within 4 minutes, not 45 minutes, where you get more and more anxious.
Right.
Yeah.
I practice with my clients you know what, I just can't do anymore today.
Yeah.
And I talk about it in the context of grief is the best ace you've ever had. And you throw that grief ace card down and you say, I
Yep.
just can't do it. I need to go
Exactly.
home. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday.
Yep.
I got to go home.
Yep. Yep.
Right. Or
I
if you're
like
going to
that.
stay in my house, I'm going upstairs and going to bed. And you welcome to stay. I need to
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to, we talk about how long do you think? Well, somebody the other day said, well, I think maybe 2 hours. Okay. So if it's 2 hours, now, is that going to be 2 hours in the beginning? Is it going to be, are you going to get there really early? Is that going to be 2 hours, like you'll be like half an hour late and you'll be kind of there in the middle? Or is that 2 hours at the end and you'll just stop by for dessert? And, but always have an exit plan, because then you don't feel so trapped.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Buy stock in Costco pumpkin pies and you can deliver them and make it 5 minutes and leave.
Yes. Yes. I also want to share that I had a family that they decided that mom really, really wanted Thanksgiving, that it was just important to continue Thanksgiving dinner at their home.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so painful for her to think about setting the table in the dining room. So they moved the table actually to the living room in front of the fireplace.
They changed the cues. I love that.
Yeah. And that made it relatively tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like doing the Thanksgiving tablecloth where
Mm-hmm.
everybody signs their names in their handprint where they
Ooh,
are.
I like that.
And then if there's people missing, you put them in either a cloud or something else in the center, and you put the date, and then you bring it out, and every year it builds.
I like that. Right?
Just be careful you don't wash the names off. You get some really good ink.
You know what? I really like that. I think that I might start a Thanksgiving tablecloth this year.
It's a great thing to do.
I like that idea. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, I'm going to go back to, okay, it's probably going to suck. And how, I really, really strongly recommend that, that we start talking about, well, what do you want to do? And do something, even if that's not related to the person that you're missing or that you're relieved isn't there. But to do something consciously, because otherwise it will kick you in the butt at like 2:30 in the afternoon anyway.
It will.
I know for my when I married into this very loud Jewish family from Chicago, a very big, loud Jewish family who I love, but I came from a very small, kind of waspy family in New England. And
there's a culture difference.
Woo! A lot of culture differences over the years. And my when my mom had died the year before, and Mark at Easter would say, honey, do you want to do something for Easter? And I'd be like, for the first couple of years, I'm like, no, I don't want to do anything for Easter. And then I'd be in a bucket of tears at like 3:00 in the afternoon, which, by the way, had nothing to do with the resurrection. It had everything to do with the Easter basket,
right?
Because that was one of my favorite things to do with my mom. Mm-hmm. And so one year I get up on Easter Sunday and I go into the kitchen, and there's a basket, and it has a Sony Walkman. This many years ago. It has a few CDs. It has bed and bath gels. It was a gift basket.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I wish I had taken a picture of it, because it was beautiful, and it was this acknowledgement, and I love that. And so, ever since then, there is always a basket. Mark has gotten much more creative over the years.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he just knows, that the Easter Bunny brings Peeps and M&Ms, and I'm good. Sometimes
There
he
you
throws
go.
in some jelly beans. Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Like
just
it.
that acknowledgement of, here, can we just ignite? And I usually recommend, hey, can you do it with earlier in the day? Because otherwise, it's like, here, let's just acknowledge. Yeah.
Right. Let's make sure we bring it out and we talk about it and we celebrate it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
There. Away with those slides.
Those are great slides, by the way, folks. I hope everybody took pictures of them because those are things you need to work with clients.
Yeah.
At this time of year.
I think so. So anyway, it's very, very nice to chat about the holidays with you.
I'm glad we got to do it. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. What are you guys going to do?
The whole family is coming, as my father used to say.
Oh my. Yeah, house full.
Yeah, so it's all of Mark's family, right?
And a pink turkey.
Yeah, and so a great big turkey. Oh, we can't find a turkey yet. So Mark's been looking for turkeys to do. We were gonna practice on the turkey. I
just bought 2.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm gonna talk to Mark because he's like, nobody has turkeys. I'm like,
Stater Brothers has the turkeys. Yeah, we're cooking them for our project food for next week.
Okay, so we're gonna be perhaps doing a trial run this weekend.
That's a good idea. Yeah, and then you'll get used to. We'll acclimate you to the pink turkey meat. They really do taste good.
And then I'm going over to the farmer's market tomorrow morning because the last 6 weeks, which was awesome, I did a 6-week deep dive grief skills course. We finished last week. It was awesome. We had a great group. And
I'm so glad.
Every time I do that group, I always learn something else. I find a different resource. We talk and somebody else gives another example of how to be able to help. I'm like, wow, that's a really good idea. So, but that means that tomorrow morning
you get to go back to the farmer's market.
We'll be able to go over to the farmer's market.
I will be at Water World. We're doing World Water Day tomorrow at our local pool with our water aqua motion people.
Oh, fun.
And then we have the purple boat float.
I saw that.
To mark dementia.
I saw that. That's great.
Yeah. So if you're in Southern California in Riverside, we have this beautiful park called Fairmount Park that was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed Central Park. Oh, and we do a thing on this Sunday from 3 to 6. And there are boats that have been made at senior centers and kids programs. And you can write the name of someone that is affected by or has died from dementia. And then we put candles on them. And at dusk, they go out. It's kind of like a paddle out, but Riverside style.
That's really neat. Now, so do you, can you donate or send that, or do you need to be there?
You can, if you want to send me names, I'll put them on.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's all free. And then there's lots of people there who are from different agencies. So you can, if you're dealing with dementia, there's resources there, or you're dealing with dementia grief, Jill might be there. Right. So we have the local dementia community there. So yeah, if anyone wants to send me a message with a name, I'll put the names on the boats.
Good. Well, I want to put in my grandma's name. That was Dorothy. Actually, she was called Dot, which is why.
Okay. So I'll put Dot on.
Yep. Our dog Dot was named after Dottie was named after my grandma.
Got it.
Yep. Yep.
I got it now.
And
it'll go on a boat.
You know what? I'm looking at comments. It says Facebook user, but I don't know who you are. I don't know why it's not showing up here. I saw Sarah and Deborah. Thanks for joining us. You know what? I will. Is it possible? I said absolutely. I will go ahead and post that in the private practice grief group. No
Yay!
problem. Yeah, because we really, really want you to be able to have some tools to be able to use with your clients.
And with our 4,000 members.
4,000! Isn't that
4,000?
Awesome,
right? 4,000. Look what
so
you did.
Excited. I had no idea in 2018 when I started this. I was like, hey, look, I like talking about grief. Come talk to me about grief. Come, let's encourage each other of how to be able
And
to
now there
go
are
past,
4,000.
holding space. It's like there's a lot to do with that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
I
All
send you
right.
a big hug.
Hugs back. I will see you next month.
Okie doke. Bye-bye.
Bye.